Doeg is a biblical character who, while not among the most remembered, certainly ranks among the most cruel in all of sacred history. In a list of the most evil acts committed in biblical times, his actions deserve special mention. He exterminated dozens of priests and destroyed an entire city without justifiable cause. In this video, you'll understand everything the scriptures reveal about who Doeg was. He served King Saul during the period when the first monarch of Israel was persecuting David. Overcome by anger and envy, Saul became obsessed with eliminating the young warrior who had gained enormous prestige among the Israelites for his victories in combat. In this context, Doeg's story gained notoriety due to his treacherous and evil character. The Bible provides little information about him. It only mentions that he was an Edomite who served Saul as overseer of his flocks. The sacred text describes him as the most powerful among Saul's shepherds, according to the first book of Samuel, chapter 21, verse 7. Clearly, this was a significant role, as flocks represented an essential part of man's wealth in those times. According to scholars, the name Doeg likely means anxious or fearful. However, when comparing the name recorded in the book of Samuel with that which appears in the title of Psalm 52, a difference in spelling is noted: two distinct vowels. This detail has led many commentators to believe that it was a foreign, non-Semitic name, and that the Masoretes had difficulty recording it correctly. Some Jewish interpreters suggest that the spelling variation carried an implicit curse. Dramatic, photorealistic image of an ancient manuscript glowing faintly under supernatural light, with the name Doeg subtly highlighted. A shadowy figure stands behind the scroll, symbolizing hidden malice or divine judgment. Moody cinematic lighting, golden and dark tones, emotional intensity, detailed parchment and human textures. 16:9 ratio. In the biblical narrative, Doeg appears in the context of David's flight from Saul, when the latter sought help in the priestly city of Nob. His presence in sanctuary is curious, as he was an Edomite, a descendant of Esau, and therefore outside the covenant line. For this reason, many commentators believe he converted to the Jewish faith to maintain his position of trust with the king. Others suggest he was an Israelite originally from the region of Edom. In any case, one of these hypotheses must be true, since otherwise he would not have been allowed to enter the sanctuary. Scripture also records that Doeg was detained before the Lord, according to 1 Samuel 21, verse 7. The biblical author does not explain the exact reason for this detention. It could have been related to some personal sin, a purification ritual, or even fulfillment of a vow. Still, Doeg is described as a deceitful man, willing to do anything to win his leader's approval. He was the kind of servant whose loyalty was limited to his own selfish interests. When David sought out the priest Ahimelech in Nob and noticed Doeg in the courtyard, he immediately understood that this man was a threat, a snake in disguise, ready to betray. David knew this would have consequences. He was aware that, at the first opportunity, Doeg would report him to Saul, and that's exactly what happened. Doeg's act of informing Saul of David's presence at Nob, while true, was driven by evil intentions. He deliberately distorted the role of the high priest Ahimelech in helping David, creating a narrative that resulted in the deaths of many innocent people. Indeed, Doeg did not lie when he said he saw David at Nob, nor that Ahimelech gave him food and Goliath's sword. However, he did lie when he claimed that the high priest had consulted the Lord on David's behalf, for there is no biblical evidence that the Urim and Thummim were used at that time. This fabrication only served to add a conspiratorial touch to the story, further inflaming the fury of the tormented king of Israel. Doeg was cold and calculating, someone who planned evil with precision. He was a liar, who preferred deception to good and falsehood to truth. His tongue cut like a sharp blade, and his destructive words revealed his evil heart. Saul, for his part, did not escape blame either. His rash judgment, based on distorted information, and his uncontrollable desire to eliminate any threat to the throne, reveal the danger of power when it is not guided by wisdom and righteousness. Cinematic, photorealistic depiction of King Saul seated on his throne, his face twisted in anger and confusion as shadows of advisors whisper around him. The scene is illuminated by flickering torches, emphasizing moral decay and the weight of corrupted power. Intricate facial details, golden and crimson tones, symbolic composition of authority and downfall, 16:9 ratio, dramatic storytelling depth. Saul's paranoia and his inability to discern the truth led him to one of the darkest episodes in Israel's history. The king ordered the massacre at Nob, and when his servants refused to carry out such an atrocity, Doeg volunteered to carry it out. The Bible records that 85 priests of the Lord were killed that day. What Doeg did to God's servants was abominable, but his cruelty did not stop there. The sacred text tells how the bloodthirsty Doeg exterminated the entire city of Nob, killing men, women, children, and even animals. Only Abiathar, one of Ahimelech's sons, managed to escape and sought refuge with David. The execution of the priests and the massacre of the inhabitants of Nob are a tragic reminder of the depths of humankind's power when they act without morals, ethics, and the fear of the Lord. Doeg lived among the Israelites, professed their faith, and frequented the sanctuary. He knew the law of the Lord, yet he still chose to do evil. The lesson this story teaches us is clear. A person dominated by sin is capable of committing unthinkable atrocities, and knowledge of the Scriptures, frequenting temples, and participating in worship do not prove true conversion or transformed heart. However, the massacre at Nob was not merely the isolated act of a wicked man, but also a reflection of Israel's moral and spiritual decline under the reign of Saul, a king who was supposed to unite and protect the people, but who ended up promoting destruction and disunity. Despite that tragedy, history continued to be guided by divine sovereignty and the purpose of redemption and restoration. In light of Psalm 52, we understand that David's lineage will be preserved by the Lord, while Doeg and Saul will be judged and rejected for their lack of integrity, justice, and fear of God.